guys, it's Antics. We're going to be talking about some tricks to improve as an ADC, simple things such as like aiming and things that you can do to help improve yourself. If you guys didn't already know, I play at a master's level. As you can see, I've been playing ADC for about 3 years now, or so, since around season 2. But like the early stage of like season 3 or so. So I have a couple tips and tricks that you can use to help improve your game, so that way you can be a little bit more on top of things, especially if you're a newer player who's just coming over to ADC. ADC is a harder role to carry in ranked, in my opinion, compared to other roles, even support. That is because you do get ganked consistently, which makes things a lot difficult, especially if you're playing against a good jungler. So what I'm going to be able to say is that a lot of people tend to use something like this, which is aim booster. As for example, they'll go on speed, you'll hit start, and you just click the circles. For example, you know, stuff like that. So generally I don't use this because I don't think it's very efficient. Because think about it, in Smite you're not really making these big like quick movements too much, in my opinion. As an ADC, it's more precise in movements, and I don't think it like helps you in any way. But it does, well, not, I can't say in any way, but it doesn't help you as much as like just playing the game does. Of course you go to precision and such and all that, but in my opinion it's more about there's little things such as hand placement on your desk, as well as settings and stuff. For example, I use let's see here, I use a 24, which is one down from the set, which is 25, as well as for my DPI settings I use the 750. That's comfortable for me. I would go in and change it. I wouldn't go any higher than 1000 personally, and even then I think that's kind of low, as well as changing your polling rate to as high as it can go. I also use a wired mouse. This is the Logitech G602. If you guys want to look into that, it's usually not too expensive. We're gonna go into a jungle practice. I'm gonna show you what I do. What I used to do, anyways. I don't do it anymore. Back whenever I was really trying to improve my aim in game and such. And then I'm gonna go over hand placement on your desk, as well as like how to like control yourself. I remember that whatever back in around like season 2 or so, I had a really bad habit of flicking. Okay, and I couldn't get over it. It took me the longest time.
All right, let's get this over with.
So we're just gonna go straight to level 20 here.
Minions have.
We don't really need items, but we'll get a transfer just so we have mana. So let's cooldowns.
Maybe I'll hold out a little longer.
Okay.
Let's switch it up.
So what I used to do is I would go like this. Back when the bots would use P, I used to go like this. For example, and like just like set yourself up, and you can go slow.
Let's switch it up.
And then like
this.
Now I think it's a little better, because what I would do is I would go with the 3 method. Okay. So you go this way, this way, this. Well, let me get a little closer. There, and back again, and you go this. And just like keep changing it up, and then just get faster at it. But we need it. And then I will also get more attack speeds, that way you can like do it more.
Let's switch it up.
So the more attack speed you go up in, obviously it's gonna be harder. You're gonna be able to throw more shots out. Go. This is about how much you would have around late game. So even I have like trouble getting it because I don't practice as much anymore. Back when I used to practice it, I used
Let's
to
switch it up.
get it a little bit. I would not practice flicking. You'll see some people, they'll be like, or it's an example of it, and just like throwing it like that, yeah,
Let's switch it up.
like that. I would not practice that because it gets you into a bad habit if you practice it too early, right? So what I would practice is
Let's switch it
just
up. Let's switch it up.
coming in and then flicking to a small distance, right? Getting that adjustment down.
Take this.
And just like get used to what your settings are. That's all. Pretty
Let's
much
switch it
all
up.
you need to do. And then you can pretty much hit whatever you want, right? As for things like Uller and stuff, like these are usually the more mechanical
switch it
ones.
Take this.
At anymore, when it comes to like the 3-1 combo for me, I don't miss because I have so much muscle memory to like
Let's switch it up.
aim the 3 where I want it to go. So, example, see what I mean? I have so much mechanical awareness of where I want that 3 to go that it just happens naturally. But that's something you would have to like practice, you know, getting down that 3-1 combo.
Let's switch it up. Take this.
And such like that, right? So, another tip that I have that I don't really see very often is the hand placement. So, on a desk, your hand's usually like this, right? Generally, you have wrist movement and then you have elbow movement. Elbow movement is more of like a wide range movement, right? And then wrist movement is just your wrist. Obviously, it's in the name. So, personally, I like to use more of the elbow for big adjustments, right? And then I'll use my wrist for the small ones. So, whenever I'm just making these small adjustments, from here to here, it's my wrist. And then whenever I'm going for a more wide range, I'm using my arm.
Let's switch it up.
Simple things like that, and then as well as like
Let's switch it up.
always actively think about what a person's doing and watch them. I see this all the time where people are just like autoing and they're just missing, right? They're like, they'll sit here like this. And a lot of like top level players, example is like Diesel. What he'll do is he'll juke like this the entire time while he's trying to auto. And once he sees you're starting to hit something, he'll go the other way and it'll go like this. This is all he'll do, pretty much.
Let's switch it up.
And a lot of like people do this. Zatman does this as well. Once you start hitting autos, he'll go like this. I even do it sometimes whenever I'm trying to mess up and I see they're not landing and their autos are firing like right behind me. So what I'll do is as soon as I realize that his movement's like this, for example, he's doing this. And if you're gonna juke this way, by the way, you need to do it in the opposite direction. That's the best, in my opinion. If you're moving in the same direction, it's pretty easy, right? But if you're doing it in the opposite, it's kind of oh, my default. So if I'm autoing this way, I'm going like this. Like, it's a hard hit because people they're not correctly assessing where their opponent's actually thing, so they're throwing the autos like back this way. See, like this.
Let's switch it up. Take this.
So what will happen is, if you're actively thinking about where they're going to be, so see he's gonna change directions, and you're following that, right? The entire time. So the best way I could say to look at this would be to look at where they're going, right? And as soon as you see that your autos are falling behind, don't quickly try to fix it, okay? Give yourself a second for your mind to register what they're doing, okay? So if they're here and they're moving like this, and then as soon as I hit that auto over there, so my autos are coming behind, so I need to stop autoing, give it a second, and then correct where I'm supposed to be aiming. And as soon as you get the pattern down of where you're supposed to be aiming, then you'll start connecting more, because now you're in the flow of it. You're in the feel of where they're gonna go, and you're kind of just like hitting them, right? But at a top level play, as soon as they see you starting to hit autos, they're gonna change. So what you're doing is as you're autoing, you got that feel down, you're watching for that change. So you would go this way, you see the change, and you're following it, right? So it's like following, instead of doing something like this is bad. You're just firing randomly, and you're not really assessing where they're at. That's how you miss, and that's how you're gonna fail in your aim, right? So as for wrist arm movement, a little tired, my bad. Best thing I can say is to go with what you're comfortable with, but I will say this, that if your sensitivity is really high, using more wrist movement isn't exactly going to be your best bet. I suggest having the entire arm on the table, so that way you can make free use of both of it. But obviously some people are limited to not having a desk and such, so I would just get used to what you're using. But if you have the option of putting your whole arm on the desk, I would, so that way you can have the whole arm on the desk, so that way you have more movement that you could do. And that's pretty much all the tips I can give to you at this moment in time. If you are interested in more content, I got some more videos up on my channel you can check out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like if you learned anything here today. And I'll be streaming on Twitch usually 4 times a week or so, around 5 to 4 p.m. If you want to come check me out then, that's on Eastern time. Thanks for watching, and everyone, I hope you have a good night or day, wherever you're at.